Well, normally we go behind the wheel with Harvey Briggs. We're checking out the latest car or SUV.
This time we're going behind the handlebars.
There you go. I mean, the site is called Rides and Drives.
There you go.
I was riding.
So, the Unchained Tour, tell us about this.
Yes, it was funny. BMW called me and said, hey, we have a new motorcycle. Would you like to come out in California and try it out? And I said, great. And they said, well, would you like to ride it home?
To Madison.
To Madison. So 2,250 miles later, I rode this BMW K1600 Grand America and ended up here. And what I wanted to do with the trip was not stop at any chain hotels and restaurants. So it was very much just a
Because this is direct drive, there's no chain.
Yeah, exactly. No chain on the motorcycle.
That's where it started.
Exactly.
So what does that mean?
Well, what you have here, and you can kind of see it, is there's, instead of a chain running from the engine back to the rear axle, you have a shaft, and it's inside this housing here, but it runs into a planetary gear on the rear wheel, so it's much more like a traditional drive shaft in a car.
And this thing has a 6-cylinder BMW engine.
Yes, this is a 1,600cc 6-cylinder engine. It's only 24 inches wide, so it's a very narrow, and you know, the cylinders are teacup size. It's pretty cool.
Speakers on the back?
Yeah, we've got a full, this is the Grand America version, so this has the top case on it, which has a ton of room to store things in it if you wanted to do that. You know, you can put 2 helmets, a bunch of gear in here.
It's bigger than my first apartment.
Yeah.
27 grand?
$27,000 as it sits, which is comparable with a fully dressed Harley or Indian. But this being a BMW, it's a little more sporting than those.
All right, let's talk about the trip.
Yeah.
So you flew out to California. Where did you start?
I started at the Old Mission Inn in Riverside, California. That's where they kicked off. It's this really cool old Mission-style building, and it's said to be one of the largest Mission-style buildings in the country.
There's a speedometer. It's 102 degrees.
Yes, it was very hot in the desert. The highest temperature we saw was 117 degrees, and the gas prices were even higher at
$8.89.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go from Southern California. Where's the first stop?
The first stop was in Arizona, just at a place called the Grand Canyon Grotto.
Well, that's not as nice as the Mission Inn.
No, it isn't. And that was one of the fun things, was to try and find these independent motels that had a lot of character. And so went from there to the Grand Canyon and up past Grand Canyon into Monument Valley, and then headed up to Utah, where I stayed at the Monticello Blue Atomic Motor Inn.
You're going downhill here.
So, no, this was great. It was a very mid-century modern vibe, clean, cool. And then from there, I went over to Colorado.
They closed the road.
Yeah, they closed the road. We were stuck for an hour and a half.
Why, just for no reason?
They were doing construction, and so got to enjoy the scenery in Colorado. And ended up at the Indian Hot Springs Resort, which is a natural hot springs. It was over a century old and kind of a fun, funky place, maybe a little rustic. So if you're expecting 5-star, this is not it. But it was, you know, a fun place to spend an evening and take a dip in a hot spring.
And then, the final stop?
Yeah, Lincoln, Nebraska. And Nebraska, I stayed in the Westview Bed and Breakfast just north of Lincoln. Ooh, beautiful place.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, beautiful place. Probably the nicest place I stayed. Lovely, you know, sunset after the rainstorm, and then home to Madison.
So how was it on the road?
It's a very smooth motorcycle. Unlike the 2-cylinder engines that vibrate a lot, this is, you know, silky smooth in terms of the powertrain. There's no vibration in the handlebars at all. The seat, it's all really, you know, just a great ride. The thing I found interesting was it's not as good on the freeway as it is on the 2-lane highways. It really likes roads that have curves in them.
So do you.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you do it again?
I would do it again. I'd probably add another day or two and make it even more fun.
What an incredible journey.
Thank you.
All right, fun. Harvey, thanks for being with us.